London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody's time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody's time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody's time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody's time. Protect my energy from your bad.
Hello, 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 everybody. Hello, Dr. Charity. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much. It's been an exciting period. We've had 2 exciting days, and I know today will even be more exciting. It's already 4 o'clock. We don't have much time, and I know you have a lot to share with us. Let me start by welcoming everybody on the call. We have 21 people already. Ayotunde Philip, Elizabeth Uyi, Oreoluwa, Afamiose, Oluwa Dabira, Jamal, Jed, Ofemifo, Samaye, Osazi, Oluwa Shemilori, all of you. Second page, there's so many people there. Let me not waste too much of your time because we have a lot to learn from Dr. Charity today. I want to congratulate everybody that's made it to the 3rd day. And I want to encourage you to pay as much attention as you can today. Today is what I call icing on the cake. And I do hope that many more people will join in. Otherwise, they will miss so much. Participate as usual. Learn something new. I'm sure each of the past 2 days you've learned something. Make sure that you learn something new today. Dr. Charity will be talking to us about spending, budgeting, and the importance of saving. Let me just quickly share my screen so I can show her profile properly. Yes. Okay. So I don't know how many of you registered yourselves, but I think if your parents registered you, they would have read Dr. Charity's profile. It would be one of the reasons why most parents sign their children and their wards for this program. Dr. Charity, coincidentally, just like Prof. Chinedu of yesterday, she is also a professor. She's a highly skilled financial consultant, a professor, like I said, and a researcher based in America, Maryland, America. She's a certified financial education instructor, which means she has a lot of experience with delivering this kind of workshop. And she's a social entrepreneur pursuing poverty alleviation through financial education. If you go to her page, you can read a lot about her NGO. So she's doing a lot, giving back. Not many people are in that line, but there are some people that are just so blessed and they want to carry other people along and they want to do a lot for humanity. Dr. Charity founded Wealthy Gen with a mission to empower women and youth through financial literacy education tools, and programs to help them establish and grow sustainable livelihood activities. She has experience with teaching financial literacy to young people, and she delivers this through a program she calls Financial Empowerment for Young Adults, the FAIR program. I will talk more about this during our break. We'll take a 5-minute break and I will talk more about that program because I believe so many of you can still benefit from it. So she'll be teaching us today on spending, budgeting, and the importance of savings. Like I said, I won't take too much of her time. I will let her start now. Dr. Charity, on behalf of everybody that will benefit from today's program, I say thank you very much. I am the one that knows how easily it was for me to catch your attention. I said, this must be the Spirit of God. This must be God working on my behalf, because you did not hesitate at all to join this program, in spite of the fact that you already have a 10-week program that you are doing for young people. Thank you so much. And the floor is yours now.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Dimba, for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate that. And thank you all the participants that are here. I'm excited about this program today, and I just want to thank you all for being here. All right, so this is the very first step. And by making the decision to be here, you've already taken the very big, bold step, and you are on your way to getting the basic foundations, the basic building blocks you need to build a solid financial foundation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started on what we have for today. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes,
Can you see my screen? Okay, great. So yes, I'm excited today and I'm hoping that you all are excited. If you're ready to learn, just give us a thumbs up, put something in the chat. And just like Bimbot said, and just like you've been doing in the previous sessions, you will be earning points for participating today. So make sure you answer questions, make sure you ask questions. And I know that Ms. Bimbo has shared a workbook for today. So we will be using that workbook extensively today for some activities, because sometimes we learn by doing, by writing, by talking about it, okay? So use that worksheet. I will share my screen so that you guys can see it when we get there. And one thing to note is that the worksheet is editable. So if you are not able to print it out, you can type on it directly. You can, if you're using your phone, you can type on it and save. If you're using your laptop or your computer, you can type directly on it. So make sure you use that, and we get to that when we get there. So today we are going to be talking about spending and budgeting, and we also take a look at the importance of savings. These three things, spending, budgeting, and savings, are key. They are key building blocks to what you will call your financial future. Okay, when you master the art of spending, the art of budgeting, and the art of savings, everything will definitely fall into place for you, regardless of how much money you make. And I know that all of us here, let me ask the question. How many of you want to be rich? How many of you want to be wealthy? How many of you want to achieve financial freedom? If not now, but later in the future. If you want and you're already good, I see a lot of hands. Type in the chat, because this is the foundation you need to achieve that. And don't say, I'm not earning any money now. You have all it takes to earn money, and we'll talk about that. Don't say, I haven't gotten there yet. This is a very big step for you. And we are going to cover the basic things you need. And I'll try my best to make it as simple and easy to understand as possible so we can follow along, okay? Great. All right, so let's move on to what we're going to achieve today. Our objectives for today is that we will develop a plan for spending and saving, and we will create a system for keeping financial records. We will identify personal income and expenses. And one second, I'm trying to move this out of the way so that I can see my screen properly. All right. Okay, great. So we will identify personal income and expenses, or system for cash flow management. And we'll talk about what cash flow is. We will describe how saving affects financial well-being. And at the end, we will be able to explain what compound interest is. And we will see how this is a very important concept if you want to build wealth, okay? And we'll identify and research savings products. All right, so let's start with this image here. This is Benjamin Franklin. And the title says Sinking Ship. One thing I want to mention to us is that we are going to be sharing a lot of stories, okay? We will be learning through these little stories, because that's a way for us to relate to what we are doing, because we will do some calculations. So if you have a calculator on your phone, bring it up, but this is not a math class, but you will learn a lot and learn how to do a little calculation as you go forward. So this is Sinking Ship. And Benjamin Franklin said, beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a ship. I want us to start our spending and budgeting with this little proverb here. And I want you to tell me what you think. What does this mean to you? If you want to speak, please unmute yourself and speak, so I don't have to scroll all the way down to see who is raising your hand, okay? So if you want to share, just unmute yourself and tell us what you understand, what this proverb means to you.
I think it means, good afternoon, everyone. I think it means that if you do not budget well and you keep buying things saying, oh, maybe this is just 100 Naira, tomorrow you say this is just $2, before you know it, you have no money again, because little expenses will sink a great ship. And if you keep taking drops of water from a bucket, eventually there will be no water in the bucket again.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Who else wants to share what this proverb means to them?
Yes, Kim, I think what beware of little expenses is small leak will sink a great ship is that there are some things that may cost a lot, and you are just saying that, oh, it's just this amount of money that I just need, then that's all. But instead, you keep on that you keep on buying all the time, and little temptation will come, and that's how you won't have any money again.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. Fantastic.
Askinima, I think what beware of little expenses means is that the little things that don't really cost. And then if you keep on buying things that you don't really.
We can't quite hear you. Can you speak through the mic? Come closer so we can hear you properly.
Okay, I said that beware of little expenses means that that all the little things, anything that means a lot of people spending money on things that are not useful. You can end up broke.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And one thing I also want to talk to us about is not everybody will get the opportunity to speak, but if we don't get to you, please put your answers, your responses in the chat, because Ms. Bimbo will be taking note of your participation. Okay, so if you're not able to speak, feel free to put your responses in the chat and we will give you credit and your points from there. Great points, everyone. And this is very important because just like some of you shared, you might think it's only 10 naira, it's only 100 naira, and you keep spending and spending. And before you know it, everything is gone. A little leak, no matter how big the ship is, a little leak can sink a great ship. So even if you have a lot of money and you keep spending the little things here and there, you think it's only just $1, it's just 100 naira, it's just 50 naira, and you keep spending. Before you know it, you will deplete whatever amount of money you have, and that will lead to financial problems. Okay, so that is what I want us to start from. And one thing I want you to start thinking is start changing your mindset about the way we think about money. Okay, so just little things we can do can make a lot of difference in our finances. Okay, so one thing we want to talk about is keeping track of our money. Okay, that is a way for us to know how are we spending our money. Are we spending on these little things every now and then? Are we monitoring how we spend our money? So the first thing we want to keep in mind is to keep track of where our money goes. Now, my question to you all is, how do we keep track of our money? Why do we need to keep track of our money? Feel free to unmute your mic. Why do we need to keep track of money?
If you don't keep track of your money, you won't be able to manage it well, because you won't know how it's being spent. You just realize that by the end of the month, you have nothing left, or you're always losing money, but you never know where the money is going to. That's why it's always good to take note of where exactly you're spending your money and what you're spending it on.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I think keeping track of your money is when you track your spendings and you know where your money goes, what you use your money for, and you can ensure that your money is used wisely.
Fantastic. You want to make sure your money is used wisely. Good job. Who else wants to go? One more person.
I think we need to keep track of our money, because there's what we call a checklist, which help us to know what we should buy and what we should do or at any time. And if we don't keep track of that, then we can do what is called impulse buying, when you buy things that you don't need at all.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One more person and then we move on. Who else wants to go? Chago, member Chago. I see you raise your hand.
Yes, ma, we need to keep track of our money to always look at where the money is going and see how we can cut costs and save more. So it's a more effective way of spending instead of just spending without knowing where your money is going.
Great. Thank you all so much. Those are fantastic ideas. And I'm glad that we are thinking this through, right? So in summary of all we've said, we keep track of our money because it helps us to make informed decisions about how to spend money wisely and how to save for the things we need and want, okay? So when you keep track of your money, you're telling yourself, I spent so amount on this, I spent so amount of money on that. At the end of the day, you take a look at it and say, how am I spending my money? Am I spending mostly on the things I want rather than on the things I need? Am I spending the right way? Do I need to cut back on some things so that I can save money for the things I will need in the future? The only way we can do that, the only way we can analyze the way our finances is by keeping track. Because when you keep track, you can go back and take a look and see, oh my God, this is how much I spent this month. I need to cut back on my spending so I can have some money to save. Or I'm spending so much on this while I should be spending so much on that. So that's a way for us to, that analysis, keeping track of money helps us to look back and analyze so that we can make the right decisions. Okay, so now what are ways we can keep track of our money? I know some of you mentioned it, but I want us to be specific this time, because it's one thing to know is another thing to know how to do that. Okay, we know we need to keep track of our money, but how do we do that? What are ways we can use to keep track of our money? Desmond, I see you raised your hand. Go ahead.
Way of keeping track of our money is by always constantly checking your accounts so that you know how much is left. And when you know how much is left, then you'll be able to know the amount to save. For example, you don't really have much in your account now, even some of your needs. You'll be able to cut some slack on that, and the ones that are use them, and some of them can.
Great, fantastic. Who else? Please keep yourself muted until you want to talk, okay? I want you all to mute your mic, but when you're ready to talk, you can unmute. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
I think we need to keep, how we can keep track of our money is like through savings, and we should know the amount of money like we are supposed to take, that we should know the price, and not spend so much on what we have, so that we can use it for our future needs and wants.
Fantastic. You keep track of where you spend it. You can see how much you spend on it, so that next time you're planning on spending on that, you already know what it costs. Great point. I like that.
Excuse me, ma.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we can keep track of our money by setting saving goals, and you have to keep track of the little things that you spend your money on to know how much you have left and what you should be doing.
Fantastic. Great points. Okay, so let me show you the 3 things. You all summarize all of these in your statements and in your comments. Okay, so we have what we call financial record keeping. Get a notebook, okay? If you don't have, get a notebook, any blank notebook, get a planner, get something that whatever you spend your money on, you go and write it down. Write the date, write what you purchased, and put how much you spent on it. The next day, do the same thing. So financial record keeping is having a notebook or something. If you have an account, sometimes your bank will give you something to write on, so you can keep track of how much is going out, okay? Or you can go to your bank, and if you have online banking or mobile app, you can check your spending. But sometimes everything is not reflected in the bank. That's why you need to keep your own records, because what if you use cash to spend money, to buy you something, right? The cash won't be in the bank. You won't see that transaction come out of the bank. So have your own notebooks where you write things down, every money you spend. That is financial record keeping. And then creating a budget, okay? Creating a budget tells you, it's like planning where your money should go first before you even spend on it. And we are going to review how the steps you're going to use to create a budget in a moment. But creating a budget is one way for you to say, this is August, right? For September, this is how much I'm going to make, and this is how I want to spend that money. That is what budgeting does for you. And that's how you keep track of your money. The other thing is monitoring cash flow. And we will review what cash flow is. In a simple term, it's really your money coming in and your money going out. Monitoring it is not enough to say, to write down, I spent 100 naira on this. I spent 500 naira on that. You need to go back every day, every other day, and look at what you've spent. Am I spending the way I should spend? That is when you monitor. Is how much money is coming in and how much money am I spending? You are monitoring your money coming in and you're monitoring your money going out. That's how you keep track of your money. And when you do all these three things, you are now able to make informed financial decisions because you know where your money is going. Okay? Any questions so far?
No, ma.
Okay. Now, let's move on to how you can actually create a budget. We know that creating a budget is one way for us to keep track of our money. And we know the importance of budget. So there are basically 3 steps, the things you need to do in order for you to successfully create a budget that works. Because not all budgets work. If you sit down and say, I'm going to make 100,000 naira. I'm going to spend 200,000 naira. It's not meaningful and it's not effective because you don't even know if you can comfortably make that 100,000 naira. So you're just writing numbers. But these are the steps you need to create a budget that works and a budget that is very effective. Okay. So the first step is keep track of your spending. We talked about in the previous slide that you need to track your money. And before you start creating a budget, so let's say we are in August, right? And we want to create a budget for September. Start by writing down the things you spend your money on now. You went out, you bought some ice cream, write it down. You took a taxi to somewhere, write it down. You bought a book, you paid for anything at all you paid for, write it down. So that when it's time for you to create a budget, you are looking to see how your spending habit is. What are the things you typically spend money on? So that when you're creating your budget, you can say, okay, maybe I'm spending too much money on ice cream. Maybe I'm spending too much money on clothing. Let me reduce it so that when you plan, you're planning based on your historical activities. So keeping track of your spending is the first step, okay? Now, the second step is for you to identify your income and expenses. Remember the example I gave that someone on the top of his head and said, I'm going to make 100,000 this month or next month. But typically he's in school, he may not be able to make that money. But when you truly sit down and say, okay, what kind of income am I going to make this month? Maybe I'm going to help babysit my neighbor's children and get paid. Maybe I'm going to do some part-time job and get paid. Maybe I'm going to walk my neighbor's dog and get paid. Maybe I will help cut my neighbor's grass and get paid. You have to sit down and identify those things that you can truly make money from. And then come back and say, okay, now let me look at my expenses that I tracked. Where do I spend my money on? You look at them and identify the ones that you truly want to spend money on. That's your step 2. And then step 3 is your analysis. Now I'm looking at my income and say, am I going to make enough income this month to cover my expenses? That is what budgeting is all about. If your expenses is 200,000 and you think your income is only 50,000, that means it's not going to work. So you have to sit down and say, okay, can I make more money or where can I cut down on expenses so that I keep my expenses below my income? So with these 3 steps, you can definitely build a budget that works. Okay? Now, before we get into the budgeting proper, we're going to do a little activity. And we're going to go to page 1. If you all received the workbook, you're going to turn to page 1 of that. And let's do a little activity before we go into the budgeting proper, okay? And if you don't have it, that's fine. I'm going to share my screen, but it will be helpful if you have it so that you can type and write on it, okay? So let me go ahead and share my screen so that we'll see what we have. The workbook is something like this. If you go to page 1, we are going to walk our way with Kathleen's story and her problem. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we're going to read her story and we are going to help her plan, make a plan. All right, so I expect you all to participate very well on here so you can get your point. And the more you participate, the more you learn, okay? Now, I'm gonna read it. Kathleen is 18 years old and she's about to graduate from high school. She works part-time at her mom's office after school. She earns approximately $550 each month. Kathleen wants to move out of her parents' house and into her own apartment when she graduates. But she keeps coming up short on money and dipping into her own savings account to pay for her daily expenses. Over the years, Kathleen has built up her savings account by stashing away birthday gift money and any extra earnings from jobs like babysitting and walking her neighbor's dog. Now, she plans on living on her own. She wants to keep her savings account in place as an emergency fund, but she's worried about how to pay for new expenses like rent and utilities. Now, we're going to review her spending habits below and see if you can help her make a plan. This is typical of most people that are trying to move out on their own, right? And if you get into boarding school, if you're coming out of secondary school, you're getting into college, you will be, for the most part, most of you will live on their own. And when you live on your own, you start taking care of your expenses. And you have limited amounts of income. Is it that income is coming from your parents or maybe gifts or maybe you're doing some jobs, right? So we need to learn how to plan so we can manage the little money we're making. So this is Kathleen's problem. The first question for us is to take a look at how Kathleen spends her money from Monday through Saturday. Sorry, from Sunday through Saturday. And our question is, if Kathleen spends at this pace for the entire month, how much money will she spend by the end of the month? Now, we are going to do a little calculation here. If you have your phone, pull up your calculator. If you have a calculator on the side, that's fine, pull it up. We are going to make it easy for us, we are going to calculate how much money she spends every day, right? We're going to add it up. And then we are going to see how much she spends in a week. And once we have how much she spends in a week, we can, of course, multiply that by 4 to get how much she spends in a month. Okay, so who is ready to roll? If you have your pen and your document, this is typable. See, you can click on it. All right, so see, when we add $6.99 plus $21.99, how much does it give us for Sunday? How much does she spend on Sunday? $6.99 plus $21.50. Or if you already calculated the whole thing for us, please let us know. I'll give a few minutes for us to do the calculation.
She spends about $1,006 in a month.
$1,006 in a month. Fantastic. Does anybody have anything other than this? If you calculated the same thing, put it in the chat. Please, if you don't want to say that, put your calculation in the chat so that Ms. Bimbo can get your point for that. Does anybody have anything other than 1,006? So this is correct. This is fantastic. Miss Kathleen spends $1,006 in a month. Now let's go to the next question. Compare Kathleen's monthly expenses to her monthly income. Her monthly expenses is $1,006, and how much does she make? $550. And the question is, does Kathleen have positive cash flow or negative cash flow? Positive cash flow is more money coming in than going out, and negative cash flow is more money going out than coming in. Which does she have?
Negative cash flow.
Negative cash flow, great.
So, yes.
Great point, everyone. Now let's take a look at the third question. What patterns do you observe in Kathleen's spending habits? What does she spend money on most often? Let's go back here. Can we see any pattern in her spending? What does she spend money most often on?
I think she spends most of her money on coffee.
On coffee, great. Any other ideas?
She spends most of her money on coffee.
On coffee, okay.
But at the same time, she buys a new pair of clothes every Monday, and the cost of that alone is more than what she spends on coffee per week.
She spends a lot of money on clothes and also on going to the concert on Saturday.
Great point.
On
Great
Saturday.
point. Concert, great point. You guys are making valid points, okay? If you look here, she spends $89 on concert every Saturday. If she keeps this up, every Saturday, she's spending $89 for concert. And every Monday, she buys a pair of jeans and shirt for $52.86. And then look at here, coffee, almost every day. She spends $2 on coffee. And if you remember our first slide, the sinking ship. To her, she might think $2 is nothing. It's just $2 every day. And when she continues like that, it's gonna add up. So this is the pattern we see in Kathleen's spending habits, okay? So what advice would you give to Kathleen to help her reduce expenses so she can afford to move out on her own? What advice do we have for Kathleen?
If it is me, I tell her that she should create like a checklist and also that she shouldn't be spending on something that is her own, but instead she should start spending on her needs, and also she should start saving.
I would advise her to spend less than that is coming in for her. She should spend less than her income. That way she'll start saving.
Great advice. Which other advice? Leila, I think I see you raise your hand. Leila, go ahead.
I think I would advise her to minimize buying from fast food restaurants, because she can as well just make the coffee and lunch herself. And the concert isn't really necessary every Saturday. So she can also minimize on that.
Fantastic advice. I love that. Bello, go ahead.
Yes. I would advise her to stop. I would advise her to start reducing the amount she uses on her new pair of jeans and t-shirts, plus the amount she uses on her manicure, because number one, she does not need to buy a new pair of jeans and t-shirts every Monday. She can use the one she has, and then once she thinks they are worn out, she can buy another one. She does not need to buy them every Monday. And she does not need to get a manicure every Tuesday, because it is only once you don't really want your nails anymore that you can do them again.
Fantastic points. Thank you all. For the rest of you that I'm not able to share, please put your comments in the chat so that you can get your points, okay? Now, let's go back to where we were so we can continue. All right, so we just finished this activity. We're going to move on to budgeting. And we want to share the breakdown of what budgeting looks like, okay? Of the things, the different components of budgeting. And the first component in budgeting is your income. Keep yourself muted, mute your mic until you're ready to speak, okay? That way every other person will hear us. Thank you. All right, so income. Please mute your mic. Philip, can you please mute your mic? Thank you. All right, so the first step, the first component in your budget is your income. And this is where you talk about all the money that you're gonna make, the different ways you can make money, all right? It can be wages from your various jobs, like cutting grass. Sometimes you don't really have to be fully employed. You can go and cut grasses for your neighbors. You can babysit for your neighbors. You can walk the dog for your neighbors. You can do all those things so you can get paid, all right? You can also get a full or part-time employment. most of you are in school, almost all of you are in school, right? If you get finished from school around, let's say, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., whatever that time is, if you think you can work for 3 hours, you can get a part-time job or get a job that you can work on weekends and you can make some money. Well, the money you are paid is your income. Then allowances. Some of you that are in school, maybe you're in boarding school, your parents give you some allowances that will last you for some months. That is an income for you. So you can create your budget using that income. You can do other smaller jobs, right? You can invest, you can start saving. And we're going to talk about that in our next topic. You can start saving, open a savings account and put your money in there and you get paid interest, okay? That is an income for you. You can start investing, and there's a different class on investing. I'm hoping that some of you will join the program where we can talk about investing. Interest, when you invest, they pay you dividends. Okay, so that will be an income for you. And then there are other sources, including tips. Some of you, when you have your birthdays, your friends, your family friends give you some birthday presents. And if they give you that money, save it. That is an income for you. It may be sometimes some people work in restaurants, or you work on a place and people that you serve give you tips. Those are income for you. So when you start creating your budget, you ask yourself, what are different ways I can earn money from? And if you think you don't have any way you earn money from, it's time for you to start thinking about it. Ask yourself, I can do these things so I can make money. Always think about what can I do to make money, right? Some of you have great talent. If you know how to write, if you know how to write stories, you can write a book. Publishing is very easy. Once you write a book, you'll start making what they call royalty income. Okay, some of you are artists. You have great talent in drawing and sketching and painting. You can start, even if it's from your family members, even if it's people you know, people you see on social media, you can sketch them, you can draw them, you can paint them, and they pay you for that. Before you know it, you will escalate and you will grow from there. So tap into your talent as a way for you to earn income. You can set up some businesses. Some of you are entrepreneurs. I listened to one of you yesterday speak, and he said that he wants to own his own business. A lot of you have great entrepreneurial skills. You can design something. Some of you can make jewelries. You can make jewelries and sell it and you make income. You can create something, you can buy something and sell it and you make some money. That will be profit income for you. So I will challenge you today after this class to start thinking about ways you can make money, okay? Start thinking about that. Keep in mind, the more money you make, the more you are able to save and the more you're able to grow yourself financially. So that by the time you become adults, you're already ready to roll, okay? Now, once you have your income in place, you then move on to your expenses. Expenses are everything that you spend money on. Your bills. If you have your cell phone, you have to pay for your cell phone bill, right? You have to pay for your minutes. If you're using internet, you have to pay for the internet. If you have cable, you have to pay for the cable. If you're already living on your own, maybe you're in college and you have to pay for where you live. Those are your expenses. And if you have to pay for transportation to go to anywhere, Uber, vehicle, maybe you are driving, you have to pay gas. If you have to take a bus, those will be your transportation expenses. And then we move on to other live activities. Some of you like to go to movies. You got to pay for your movie tickets, right? You have to, if you're downloading music online, you got to pay for the music. If you're downloading games, because I know a lot of you like to play games, right? If you're downloading games, some of them you have to pay for, or any other entertainment. Then talk about your clothes, your accessories, your jewelries. You're eating out. Some of you go out to eat in a restaurant, right? Then personal items, your makeup, your cologne, and all of those things. Your haircuts, shaving, right? When you go to get a haircut, those are your expenses. And then this is where it becomes tricky. Your savings should be part of your expenses. People will always wait till the end after spending and say, oh, how much do I have in my bank account? When you're creating budget, your saving, how much you want to save for the month should be included as part of your expenses. Because when you make your money, you're going to take that saving money out and put it in your savings account. So your savings is part of your expenses, whether you're saving for college, whether you're saving for anything you want to buy, it is part of your expenses as far as budgeting is concerned. Okay. Now let's look at the breakdown again of budget. We talked about cash flow from the beginning. After you identify your income and your expenses, you sit back and say, what is the relationship? What is my cash flow? How much money am I making and how much money am I spending? Am I making enough to cover my expenses or am I spending too much? You have to do the analysis, okay, so that you can adjust if you need to. Then when you're thinking about your expenses, I want you to break them down into two. There's what we call the fixed expenses. These fixed expenses don't change, okay? If you have your rent, if your rent is 500 a month, it is 500. There's nothing you can do about it. If you don't have 500, you cannot pay your rent. If you have car loans, if your car loan is 200, you must pay 200, it cannot change. Those are your fixed expenses. But there are flexible expenses, the expenses that can change from time to time. If you normally spend 100 or 500 naira for eating out, you can next month say, you know what, that is too much. I'm going to spend only 200. Okay. For the young lady that Kathleen that spends $55 on shoes and clothes alone, she can say, you know what, that is too much. I'm only going to spend 20 naira or $20. So those ones are flexible expenses. You can control them. You can change them depending on your financial situation. So when you're doing your budget, first of all, take care of your fixed expenses. Then you can adjust your flexible expenses because you have control of that. You can change it from month to month. Okay. Do we have any questions on budget before we move on to our next activity?
No, ma.
All right. So with that said, we are going to go to page 2 of our workbook and we are going to do some activities. Okay. So we are going to start from page 2 and we're going to do some activities that will help us assimilate and understand what we just covered. Okay. I'm going to share my screens to that page so we can work on it. So this is our page 2 and this is Jaden's budget. Okay. We are going to review his budget and we are going to see what his budget looks like. And my goal is that after this, you will begin to create your own budget. Make it as simple as you can. You don't have to make it complicated, okay? So now, Jaden brings him $425 each month. We are going to help Jaden track his monthly income and expenses to determine how much money he has coming in, how much is going out, and whether or not he has enough income to pay for his bills and expenses each month. Okay, so we are going to review Jaden's income and expenses, and our question will be, does Jaden have enough money to pay all of his bills? Now, let's look at his income. He earns $300 from after-school job, and he also earns $125 from mowing lawn, okay? All right. Not sure why this is populating for me, but it's okay. So when you add these two together, you will have 425 as income. All right. 300 plus 125 is Jaden's total income. Now, I want you all to calculate Jaden's total fixed expenses for me. The car payment, car insurance, total loans, credit cards, and savings. If you look here, he puts his savings as part of his expenses. So this is very important. Savings as part of expenses so that you will budget for that every month. So how much in total expenses does Jaden have?
I have 215.
How much?
215.
200. How much? 215?
Dollars.
Okay.
For fixed expense.
For fixed expenses. All right. So for flexible expenses, is this amount correct?
Yes, ma, is correct.
All right. So in total, I want you to add his fixed expenses. And his
Sorry, my brother is echoing your back.
It's $370 when you add it together.
How much in total?
It's $370 when you add the two together.
$370, correct. Does anybody have anything other than this? Does anybody have anything other than 370? Okay, great. So let's go back to the question. So we have 425 here, and then we have how much here?
$155.
155.
155 or 175?
It's 155.
155.
Okay, great. So in total, Jaden has 370, and his expenses is, his income is 425, and his expense is 370. Does he have enough money to pay all of his bills?
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Yes, he does. So this is, and
Yes,
remember,
he
he also has $25 in savings. Okay, so this is how you plan your expenses and your income so that you can comfortably save. Even at that, he still has some money left, and he can increase his savings with the extra money that he has left. All right, so let's move on to the next question for us. Is cash flow conundrum, and this is Todd. Okay, Todd has a problem. He's in a real conundrum. He's overspending and he needs a plan. A lot of people are like this, okay? He's overspending and he needs a plan. We are going to read his story and we're going to help him put the pieces to a solid plan together before it is too late. This is what Todd said. I earn approximately $100 each month from mowing lawns, okay? My cell phone bill is $50 a month. I use my phone for everything, texting, downloading movies, playing apps with my friends, you name it. So he does all of these things with his cell phone, and he pays. All right, so let's see. The rest of my money goes toward hanging out with friends.
Great.
Please put yourself on mute.
Oh,
So the rest of my money goes toward hanging out with friends, which is $30, buying clothes, new music, video games, $45. And then into savings, he saves $10. Currently, he has $70 in savings right now. And this is his problem. I didn't realize how much I was using my phone last month until I went way over my allowable data. When I got my bill, I flipped. I really should have paid more attention. My bill was $256. I don't have that kind of money. If I keep paying my regular $50 a month, I am going to continue to owe extra charges. What else can I do? Do you have any ideas for how I can lower my expenses and increase my income so I can get rid of this?
I know.
I got $35. $35.
Say that again.
I said I got $235.
What is $235?
The bill that I was supposed to pay for. You know why? The bill that I was supposed to pay for $235.
Okay,
That's what I got.
Let's back out a little bit, okay?
Asking myself what?
Phone bill supposed to be $50 a month. $50 a month. I want you to please put yourself on mute. Feedback is next month, please put yourself on mute. Tosoya, please put yourself on mute.
Okay, ma.
All right. So his cell phone bill was supposed to be $50. But because he was doing a lot of things, he didn't pay attention to his data, but he got a bill for 256. Okay? And he doesn't have that kind of money. Although he has $70 in savings, but he's trying to see what can he do so that he can pay off this $256. Right? And he's asking, do you have any ideas for how I can lower my expenses and increase my income so I can get rid of this debt? So let's give Todd an idea of what he needs to do so that he can pay this bill, okay? So that he can reduce his expenses or make more money so that he can be able to pay this bill. Any ideas?
I have an idea.
Go ahead, Shemilore.
Okay, so number one, first things he can do is reducing the things he buys, like the new music and video games. And then if he wants to get extra money, he can do jobs like you said before, like babysitting, mowing lawns, like and other things.
Okay, great. So he can do other jobs so that he can earn some more income.
I have an idea.
Go ahead, please.
I think he can get rid of he can reduce this debt by reducing the amount of things he does on his phone, reduce on video games, because that can also be a little distracting, and he should work a little more to increase his earnings so he wouldn't end up being in situations like this.
Fantastic. Adewale, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Adewale.
Yeah. You should actually get rid of some unnecessary expenses that is occurring, because like he said downloading of movies, hanging out with friends, buying of clothes, new music, all this is buying of clothes. You don't need to buy clothes every day. At least you can still have some clothes that you can still use for a while, so you don't need to spend frivolously, and you can still do some extra jobs to increase his savings. Thank you.
Fantastic. Who else wants to share? Sharon, go ahead. I haven't heard from you.
Okay, so I think he should reduce the amount he spends on playing video games and new music and clothes. Then he should also increase how much he puts into savings, and then get more other jobs so he can increase his earnings.
Great job. So I'm going to take one more person.
I have an idea.
Go ahead.
My idea is that he could mow a little bit extra more lawns and maybe increase the amount of money for lawns. That way he gets more income, which drives him away from playing more video games, having the attention of buying more video games, and makes him use his phone less, which makes his bill drop for the phone.
I like that idea. Do you know the connection? She built in timing. She built in earning more money, and she built in reducing expenses. So he can increase the price for his lawn mowing, or he can, instead of, if he was mowing lawns for maybe only every weekend, every Saturday, he can do some on Sunday, right? The more time he spends mowing lawns, the more money he makes, and the more time he takes away from video games so that he doesn't have to spend so much on video games, right? So these are all. Thank you all for sharing those. Guys, wait coming out of. Please put yourself back on mute so we can continue. Thank you. All right, so this is going to be our last activity for this session, and then we'll take a break and come back. Now, this is what if. I want us to think about our very first slide when we talked about to beware of little expenses, right? A small leak can sink a great ship, all right? And then we are going to go back to Kathleen. Remember how Kathleen was buying coffee every day for $2. And to her, it's just $2. I can just buy every morning, I'll grab a cup of coffee for $2. It means really nothing. Now, we want to see what happens if we take away these $2 from our plan. We want to see how much Kathleen can save if she takes away $2 coffee every day from her plan. All right. And we want to see how much these $2 budget can sink or ship if we continue to do that every day. Now, let's find out. Assuming we buy a daily coffee for $2, we want to calculate the true cost of those Java Jolts for each of the time periods below. Now, in 1 week, how much would Kathleen spend on coffee?
$14.
$14.
It's gonna be $14. Well, not so bad. We can say it's $14, right? Now, let's move on to 1 month. How much will she spend in 1 month?
$60.
$60. Not great, but it's still manageable. Okay. She can say, I make some money, so I can deal with $60 a month. What about 1 year?
$730. $730.
$730. It's becoming, we can say, oh, this is really adding up. $730. Now let's look at 5 years. How much will it be in 5 years?
$3,650.
$3,650. Great. Wow. What are we gonna tell Kathleen? Slow down, okay? Coffee costs that much. If I am gonna spend $3,650 on coffee in 5 years, that's a lot. I can invest this money and make some great returns on it from it. Now let's take a look at 10 years. How much would it be?
$7,300.
$7,300. That's the cost of a car. Okay, I can buy a car for this. So instead of spending $7,300 on coffee, I can save it up and use it to buy a car. Now, how much does it cost in 20 years?
$14,600.
$14,600.
So what do we have to say about it?
$100.
What do we have to say about it? I want you
Okay, lesson learned. Cutting small expenses can lead to big savings.
Correct. Imagine if Kathleen should cut down on her coffee every day. See how much she's going to save in 20 years? This can buy me 2 cars. And if I put this money in my investments, after 20 years, I won't have only $14,600. I'm going to have way more than that. Because I'm going to be earning money, I'm going to be earning interest, I'm going to be earning dividends on this amount, and it's going to be compounding. We will get to that point and we'll explain all of this in a few minutes. So this is a lesson that a little leak can sink a great ship. Imagine what it would be spending this much on just coffee that doesn't add anything to us. Okay? Do we have any questions?
No, ma.
Any questions or comments?
No question, ma.
Okay. All right. So at this point, we are going to take a little break, and I'm going to let Ms. Bimbo talk to us about what this break entails, and we should come back to continue. Don't go far. Just sit down and relax. Okay. Ms. Bimbo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charity. I said it at the beginning. Today is icing on the cake. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We can hear you.
All right. Thank you. So I said today is icing on the cake, and you haven't disappointed us so far. I just want to talk quickly, my young friends around the call, about a program that Dr. Charity is, doing right now. Sorry, her surname is the compound name, so I like to be lazy, so I call in her first name. Her full name you can see on the screen. So she's Dr. Mrs. Charity Ezenwa Onwaku. It's a mouthful. When you have all the qualifications that she has, your name can't afford to be shorter. So she has a program. I don't know. Do I have a full screen now, please? Dr. Charity, is it a full screen?
Yes. Yes, it's full screen.
Is a full screen.
Yes, we can see it properly.
Okay, so I wanted to invite everyone that has participated in the past 2 days with us to try and join this program. I have 2 nieces and 2 nephews. My own children are much older, so they are beyond this age band. But my nieces and nephews have joined in, and I think we've done 4 weeks now. It's been beautiful. So what this program is about is a 10-week program where Dr. Charity teaches young adults and teenagers the basics of finances to give you the right foundation that you need to be financially fit. This is the best time to develop good habits with money. This is the best time to understand things. I think I'm looking forward to the session on credit. I think that will be when is that? Okay, it's still the week 6. So it's a 10-week program, and it's 1 hour every evening. It's 3 p.m. for her, but it's 8 p.m. here in Nigeria for us. My nephews and nieces have had a good time, with this program. And Dr. Charity rewards in dollars, not in naira. So she rewards participation and attendance in dollars. So it's a very nice program. You can see what the 10 weeks talk about. Some of the things like what she's teaching us today, which is week 3 and week 4, she's kind of compressed it into a two-hour program, something that would have stretched. We touched up on financial planning and foundation a little bit on day 1. But if you do sign up for this program, you will get more details on these topics. Credit and credit cards, I talked about it on day 1 when I was talking about habits. You need to understand, because before you get to where you'll be exposed to being offered credit cards, you need to understand what it is all about and how to choose a good one. So we also have week 6, and you can see week 8, week 9, week 10. Somebody yesterday said they wanted to be, I don't know if it's the aeronautic engineer plus the entrepreneur at the same time and all of that. So you learn all of this in module 10, week 10. So I want you all to register for this program. Like I said, it's 1 hour every Sunday at 8 p.m. Forget the data that you'll be spending. It's really worth it. So you have to go to her page on Instagram, Wealthy Jen, and then sign up for the program. I think this is the registration link here. I can also send it to all of you that have registered by email. I will send it to you so that you can all have the opportunity to join in. I know school is starting for most people, 1 hour a week to make sure that you don't make the mistakes that your parents made will go a long way. I also want to say to you people that everybody that participated would get a certificate of participation from Finance Coach BK, and which you can always use to remind yourself that, oh, you have listened to some foundational tips on how to handle money and be in control of your money, not your money being in control of you. So that's all, because Dr. Charity is rushing up to something. We will talk more after the program. I will send you details of this so that you can participate if you choose to. Thank you, Dr. Charity. It's been fun so far. The floor is yours again.
All right, thank you so much. I know I'm gonna give another 2 minutes so that if you need to run to the bathroom, go ahead and run to the bathroom and then come back. So I'll give another 2 minutes and then we get started, okay? And in the meantime, I would go ahead and share back our screen and then I'll wait for you to join. I'll give 2 minutes, okay? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Are you all back and ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Great, fantastic. All right, so we are going to move on to the importance of saving. Okay, and this topic is one of my favorites. They're all my favorites, but I really like saving because it is the key to everything. When you're tracking your expenses, you're budgeting, you are working your way so that you can form the habit of saving. So you can make sure that you're spending on your needs, not on your wants, so that you can get some money, make some money available for savings. And savings is the key to growing your wealth. Okay, this is all how money works. I call all of these things how money works. And if you understand how money works, you know that savings is the key to making your money work for you and the key to growing your wealth. Okay, all these rich men and women you see, they are saving. If they make money and they spend all of it, they are not going to be where they are today. But because they're saving, they're able to have something to invest so that that investment can make them even more money. All right. And sometimes because we have a lot of things, there are new games, there's a new phone, there's this fashion I need to be part of. Because there are a lot of things that we want to, or we need to spend our money on, sometimes people don't pay attention. People don't see the need for them to save. They only see the need to spend and spend and spend. All right. So our question for today is, when we start making money, I know some of you are already making some kind of money, whether it's an allowance or tip or gift. When we start making a lot more money, when we start having responsibilities to spend even more money, should we focus on spending it or banking it? And this is the key question you should ask yourself each time you get some money, each time you want to spend, ask yourself, spend it or bank it. All right. Now, let's take a look at this picture here, or the two pictures here. I want you to tell me what you think that is happening in each of the pictures. So there are two young ladies here. They're all doing two different things. What do you think that is happening in two of the pictures? So you go ahead.
What is happening here is that one is spending, that let me say that they want to buy books and they are spending on this, while one is like, I think one is trying to, like the woman is trying to give it to the man, like to check how much they want to have.
Okay, let's start with the first picture. What is happening in the first picture? Then we move on to the next.
I know, ma'am. I think the first picture is a payment transaction.
Okay. Is a payment transaction? Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
The second one is an investment.
But the second one, the man is going to invest his money inside the bank.
Okay, great. So we see a spending transaction here, and we can tell because this machine here, the POS machine, showing that the person is trying to buy something and they're paying with their card. And here, this person is banking. We can see the young lady here, right, dressed in a suit. And then we can see the computer screen and some charts to tell us some account history or something like that. So this person on the right is definitely banking. And the person on the left is definitely spending. And now the question to us is, should we bank it or should we spend it? All right. That is the key, is the question that we have to ask every time. Now, what does it mean to pay yourself first? Because there are so many things to spend money on, right? One key thing you should think about is me. I got to pay myself first. What does it mean to pay yourself first?
What it means to pay yourself first, that will benefit you in the future. Things that will give you meaning, that will benefit you in the future.
Okay.
I think to pay yourself means to put money in your bank account for your future expenditures.
I think pay yourself first to save money for, I think, retirement.
Great.
I think
I like that.
I think paying yourself first is paying money into your bank account, like for a job well done. The same way your money is paid as a salary, you also pay yourself some money. But then I hear some people say let me pay myself first. And it's like they are saying, oh, I've worked for a whole month. Let me take myself out for a treat. And then they end up spending money.
All right. I like that flip. And that is common because, oh, I'm going to give myself a treat. I'm paying myself. Remember, when you're spending that money to buy some fancy shoes and clothes, you are giving it to someone else. All right? Although you are giving yourself some clothes, but you're giving that money to someone else. You might feel happy today that you bought some new clothes. Once you wear that clothes tomorrow, it's no more new. Right? But when you say, okay, I'm still going to give myself a treat. But I worked for a whole month and I made, let's just say I made 20,000 naira. Okay, an example. I'm going to say, you know what? I worked hard for this for the whole month. Let me take 5,000 naira out of it and pay myself. You go to the savings account or you go to your investment account and you put that money there. Do you know why it is important? Because that money you put in there will make you more money. It's like you're sending that money out on a mission to go back and bring you some more money. That is when you're paying yourself first, because you're sending some money out to go make you some more money. If you use that money to buy some clothes, it is that clothes, that's it. And once you wear that clothes, the value is depreciating. But if I take some of that money and put it out there, that money, 5,000 can go and come back and become 6,000. Now, I am paying myself first with an extra 1,000, okay? So that's really what it means to pay yourself first. When you receive money, for example, a paycheck, a monetary gift, and you put some of that money in a savings account before you buy things that you want or you pay your bills. What this means is once you get paid any kind of money, before you start spending that money, take some of it and put it away in a savings account before you start spending. Because people make mistakes of just once they get money, they start spending, right? And then at the end of the month, they check the account and say, how much is left? Sometimes there's nothing left. And as at that time, it is now too late. You won't have anything. You don't have any savings. You don't have more money coming in. Now, let me give you a little tip. Money, do you guys know what money is? Money is just a medium of exchange. What it means is the more money you get money, you're spending it, that's it, it keeps going. And each time you keep spending, it is reducing. But smart people, financially literate people like you all are getting today, will know that if I get money, I don't want to, as I'm spending, because you definitely will spend. I want, as I spend, I'm replenishing. As I'm spending, I'm putting in some back. So if I get money, the only way for me to put it back is for me to take some of it and save it and invest it, so that those ones I saved and we go back and bring me more money. It is that more money that I'm bringing in that I'm going to use to replenish some of the money that I'm spending out. So that's the key thing. Always think about, am I only spending or am I getting some money back from the money I earned? That is when you pay yourself first. And why do you think it's important to pay yourself first? I know we just talked about it, but feel free to put your comments in the chat. Feel free, I'm going to need just 2 persons to talk about this and then we'll move on. Why do you think it is important to pay yourself first? All right, Osariman, go ahead.
I think it's better to pay yourself first. I think it's important to pay yourself first so that when you're out of like money completely, that money that you paid for yourself, you can use it as last second to make sure that everything is back to normal before you run out completely out of money. Maybe you gave yourself like 20,000. That way you can still get yourself back on track than you have spending every month, all the money that you have.
Great. Daniela, go ahead. I haven't heard from you.
Okay, so I think it's important to pay yourself first, because even now at a young age, like it's never too early to start saving up for your future and other things that may come up in future, because we don't really know what's going to happen. Like if you get money, you spend everything and then you don't have savings, there can be a situation that will come up in which you need money, but you have not yet like been paid or you don't have any money. Like, for example, if our parents, even when they were young, they didn't start saving up, and now they won't be able to like pay our school fees and stuff like that.
Fantastic, fantastic. Adewale, one more and then we go. The rest, please put your comments in the chat and you will get your points for participating, okay?
Yeah, I think the major reason why people are first is because of unforeseen circumstances. I think that's the major reason why people are first.
Great, great. You know what? I love this class because you all are on fire, right? You all know this, and please put these things into practice. It's one thing to learn about this, and it's another thing to put it into practice. And when you put this into practice, it will work for you, and you will start seeing your finances turn around, okay?
Ma'am, please, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Normally, when a payment transaction is going on, when using a POS, they always ask savings or current. What's the difference between a savings account and a current account?
Okay, now savings account, I was gonna say before I answer your question that actually our class next week for the FIA program that Ms. Mimba talked about, we are gonna talk about banking. Okay, but I'm gonna answer your question. So if you're interested in learning more about this banking, please feel free to join the class. Now, your current account is like a checking account. It's not, so there's a savings account and then there's a current account. We call it checking account. These accounts you use to do mostly all of your transactions. You can write checks on it. But savings accounts, except a few accounts that allow you to write checks on your savings account, most savings accounts don't allow you to write checks. Savings account is mostly for savings and it pays you interest for keeping your money, because the idea is your savings account, you really don't withdraw money from it a lot. But for your current account, yes, you can spend everything you want out of it. And sometimes some current accounts have charges because you're spending a lot, you're writing checks, you're doing everything with it. But your savings account, you just withdraw money from there once in a while. And bank pays you interest on that because bank is using your money. And we are going to see a little bit about that in the next slide. But bank is, because you are not withdrawing money, you're saving your money there, bank is using your money to lend it out to people that want to borrow money. And because they're collecting fees from those people that are borrowing your money, they will pay you some of that as interest. But current accounts, they don't pay you interest because banks use it, but they don't use as much. They don't rely on it as much as they rely on your savings account, because you can come and take it and spend money on it at any time. Okay, so that's basically the difference.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, it is important to pay yourself first because it helps you manage your money better, because we make an informed financial decision when we are paying ourselves first. Because we have to manage and say, you know what, let me save this first before I spend. Now, it helps you save for goals and the things we want. I'm paying myself first because maybe I want to buy a new car. I'm going to say, okay, you know what, this car costs $10,000. So I'm going to be saving every month $500 until I get up to $10,000. I'm saving for the things I want. And it helps you to have extra money for emergencies. Like somebody said in the comments and said, when you pay yourself first, you are putting money away for that time when you do not have anything, when something that just happens that you didn't plan for. Okay, rainy days. And that is what we are going to look at next, a rainy day fund. Okay, so who can tell me what a rainy day fund is?
It's fund for emergencies or for times where you don't really have enough money. Let's say you have to change jobs and for maybe a 3-month break, you don't have any stable income coming in. The rainy day fund will see you through that period.
Great. It's just like an emergency fund. I see a lot of you raise your hand. Let me see. Who haven't I heard from? So you go ahead. I know I've heard from you, but go ahead.
I think a rainy day fund is like, it's like when you break it down into syllables, like a rainy day, like it's always raining all the time, and fund like is like it's like the money that you normally get. Am I right?
Yeah, it's rainy. Sometimes rain comes unannounced, right? It comes unannounced.
Yes,
Things that just happen that you don't have any control of. So it's a special effort. Rainy day fund is really, you put this money aside for those times when there is an emergency, right?
Okay.
Something, if you're driving, sometimes your car can just break without you knowing it, and they might break when you don't have money. But if you have your rainy day fund, you can just go there and get some money and fix your car. All right, something happens, all of a sudden you have a medical emergency, right? It might happen when you don't have money, or maybe your insurance doesn't cover it. You can use your rainy day fund to cover those expenses, okay? And we already talked about why it's important, right? Because sometimes you don't have those things. You don't have money planned for those things. And if you have a rainy day fund, it reduces your risk, all right? Like in US here, or even in Nigeria, people borrow money easily. In Nigeria, I know people borrow money easily as well. People use credit cards easily. If you have yours, and these things cost money. If you use credit card, you're going to pay a lot of interest on that. If you borrow money, you're still going to pay the bank interest. But if you have your savings, it will reduce the risk of you rushing to borrow money just to take care of expenses, right? You just go and use your rainy day fund, and you save yourself that interest you would have paid if you used your credit card or if you borrowed money. Okay? Now, let's do another activity. And this time, you all are gonna participate. You can type on your workbook. It's on page 5. And if you are not able to write, you can put your responses in the chat, because I want you to reflect and share on what you've written, okay? So let's go back to the workbook. Let me see. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Let's go back to our workbook, and it's on page 5, and it says rainy days. And this is clickable, typable, so you can type on it, okay? So what we're going to do here is that we're going to think about all the possible emergencies that can happen in life, because this is part of planning. When you plan, you are ready for things that can happen, all right? So start thinking about the possible emergencies that can happen in life and how much they might cost. We are going to brainstorm a list of possible emergencies below. You can assess different cost implications and then reflect on how a rainy day fund can help. So I have 3 options here. If you have 1, that's okay. If you have 2, that's okay. But if you're able to make it 3, that's fine. In the first column, you're going to give us an example of the emergency. And there's an example here for you. Illness that can lead to hospitalization. That's an emergency, right? What might be the cost of the unexpected cost? An example is an ambulance ride fee. If you're going to call an ambulance, you're going to pay some fees. And then if you are admitted in the hospital, you're going to pay some fees. If you eventually have a surgery, if it's something that requires surgery, you're going to pay that surgery fee. Now, how might a rainy day fund help? If you don't have health insurance, or your insurance doesn't cover all of the medical expenses, a rainy day fund can help you avoid having to take out loans or go into debt to pay for the unexpected fees. So I want you to take a few minutes and fill out this. And if you have a response, please raise your hand or mute your mic and share with us, okay? Give us an example of emergency, the unexpected cost, and how a rainy day fund can help you cover those. All right, who is ready to speak?
Excuse me, I think like your house gets caught on fire.
Good, good. That's an emergency. Great. Okay. So what might be some unexpected costs?
Like someone, you have to call the firefighters to come. I also have to pay them. Okay. Some like the patrol, like some patrol people who are in charge of where you're living, like an estate, like also the fees, and also you have to also pay your money, like let's say that you have to pay your money like to the landlord. Let's say you're not owning the house, like you have to pay to the landlord.
I like that. Great. So how might a rainy day fund help?
If you don't have fire insurance, then rainy day fund can help like through loans from bank and through your savings.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Who else wants to speak?
A car accident can also be an emergency.
A car accident. Fantastic.
Yes. And then for the unexpected costs, depending on how bad the accident is, you may have to pay a mechanic, a panel beater to fix the body. You may even have to repaint the car and do all of that. And just in case your insurance is a third-party insurance that only covers the other vehicle that you had an accident with, you also need to cover the cost. Your rainy day fund will be available to cover the cost of fixing your own car.
Fantastic, beautiful. All right, who else wants to share?
I want to share.
I have one.
I have one. I have one.
All right,
I have one, ma.
Okay, go ahead. Speak first. Whoever that speaks first, go.
Okay, so when one of your family members gets ill.
Okay, good. What are the possible costs?
So you might not have enough money to you might not have enough you might not have enough money to pay for the hospital bills, and the rainy day fund can help.
Great. Thank you. Who else? I think I saw two.
I have one.
A house collapsing is an emergency, and some of the unexpected costs could be workers' payments, the payment for the people who are going to rebuild the house, the payment for the damage around the building, and so many other things. Basically rebuilding the whole house again. And then the rainy day fund might help because it's an emergency, and even if you can't build the house to the exact position it was before, you can maybe use the money to build a small manageable home until you can make all the money back again.
That is fantastic. Great. I'm going to take one more person and then
I have one.
Oh, who said first? Osarumen, go ahead.
I have if a family member of yours or friend dies, because you need to be there for the burial, and maybe you may need to pay for the burial if it's like your mom. So if your mom dies, where the rainy day fund can help is that, you may not have to pay for the burial, and then where the rainy day fund may help is that it will make sure that you don't need to start asking for loans at the bank, start borrowing money from your friends, start asking for money, trying to do another job. If you cannot even do it, then you will not end up having to collect money. Instead, you can just use the rainy day fund, and then you can easily go for the burial, maybe bring on one of your suits, and then you're ready.
Okay, I'm loving this conversation. Great points. Okay, so when you go home, sit down and think about all of these things and write on this, okay? Because it's going to help you with your planning. And some of you are in school, some of you are not yet in college, in university. And sometimes some of you might think, you know what, I'm very smart, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I'm going to get a scholarship or something, right? And eventually the scholarship you expected didn't quite come. And you didn't plan for how much it's going to cost you to pay for your college. So that is an unexpected emergency for you at that point, because you weren't planning on spending money to go to college. Okay, so a rainy day fund can also help you if you're already saving, whether the scholarship comes or not, you have money to pay for your college. So that's an example. Also think about other things and write it down. And you can always review that so that when you start planning your finances, you'll have all it takes. And these are the things that can continue to encourage you and motivate you to save money. Because why people don't really save is because they don't even know what they're saving for. But if you have all these emergencies planned for, you can say, you know what, let me keep saving money because I never know what's going to happen. All right. Okay, so let's go back to our slide and then we move on to the next. So how money grows. This is I love this part, right? Because everything we are talking about, savings and investing and all of that, is how we can make our money to grow. If I have $5,000, or let's say, let me start with a little money. If I have 5,000 naira, I can actually grow this 5,000 naira and make it become 6,000 naira without doing anything else other than just saving it and investing it. So basically, my 5,000 naira will go out there and bring me back 1,000 naira. That is how you grow your money. And all these rich people you see, they grow their money. They just don't stock their money up under their bed. They don't just put their money in the piggy bank and leave it there. If you keep 5,000 in piggy bank for 10 years, after 10 years, you bring it out, it is still 5,000 naira. But if I take that 5,000 naira and put it in the bank, put it in maybe savings account or maybe CD or money market, or even invest it, after 1 year, after 5 years, it is no longer 5,000 naira. It will grow and bring me more money. I might get it to 6,000, I might get it to 5,005, I might get it to even 10,000, depending on what I put it in. So this is how money grows, people. And the very first thing we are going to look at is interest. Interest is extra money you get without having to do anything else other than just save or invest, right? So interest income is the revenue you earned by a lender for the use of his funds over a period of time. Remember when I told you that when you put your money in the bank in a savings account, bank uses that money, right? That's what bank lends to people that are coming to borrow money from. So you as the saver, you are the provider of funds. You are the one lending your deposit. And then what happens? Because bank is using your money to do some business and bank is making money, they are paying you some of that money as interest. So each time you save money, each time you give your money for people to use and they pay you for that, they are paying you interest. And keep in mind, you are not gonna earn interest if you keep your money in your house. So my challenge for you after this class, if you do not have any savings account, go and open a savings account. Tell your parents I need a savings account. That's when you start practicing all of these things you're learning here today. Okay? Make sure you have a savings account, even if you're not working, even if you're not making any money. On your birthday, some people might give you gifts and your parents might give you some allowances. Take some of it and put in your savings account and let it grow. All right? Now, this is what I call compound interest. And I know a lot of you must have heard of it. But I like to put the word almighty compound interest. I like to call it almighty. When I was in school, I had a math teacher and he taught us about what we call almighty formula. I never forgot about that almighty formula because of the word almighty behind it. Okay, so I don't want you to forget compound interest. So I'm putting the word almighty compound interest on it because compound interest is the key to growing your money. And I'm going to give you an example. If I put money in the bank and the bank pays me, let's say I put 5,000, bank pays me interest of $100. There are two things I can do. And we are going to see that in the example. I can take my $100 from the bank and I'm just going to buy some new pair of shoes. Or I can say, you know what? No, I'm going to keep my 100 that they gave me and keep it there so that this $100 can make me more money. And when I get paid interest on my interest, that $100 is my interest. If I leave it there sitting so that they can pay me another interest on it, I am using what they call compound interest. that money is compounding because I'm not only getting money paid interest on my principal, which is the $5,000 I put out, I'm also getting interest on the $100 interest I got before. And that is what compound interest is. Does anybody have a better way of explaining, not a better way, another way of explaining what compound interest is in your own words? I know some of you have learned compound interest in school, right? Does anybody want to try to explain what they understand by compound interest?
I think it's interest accumulated over a particular period of time.
Fantastic, fantastic. Interest accumulated over a particular period of time. Who else wants to go?
Interest joined together over a long period of time.
Great. Accumulation, accumulated, joined together, right? Interest upon interest upon interest, it keeps accumulating over time. So in compound means calculating interest on both principal and previously earned interest. That's what your compound interest is. And that is the key. Every wealth builder must work on compound interest. Even if you start investing and you start making dividends, you will use compound interest to grow your dividends. That is how money works. And here's an example. You invested $5,000 for 3 years on a fixed deposit at 5% annual interest. There are two things you can do. You can cash out the interest paid at the end of the year, or you can reinvest your interest to allow it to compound. And we are going to see the difference it makes. We are going to see this first example, someone that cashed out their interest, and we are going to see the other example, someone that reinvested their interest to allow it to compound. Now, let's start with the cash out scenario. I'm going to pick somebody from the crowd. Let me see. I'm going to use Desmond. Okay, I'm going to use Desmond and Hope. Hope is going to be the compound interest scenario, and Desmond is going to have the cash out. All right, please mute yourself, please, everyone, so that we all can hear ourselves. Now, this is Desmond. Desmond has $5,000, and he said, I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to save this $5,000. The bank, remember, said they're going to give him 5% interest for saving for 3 years. And 5% of 5,000 is $250. Now, at the end of year one, the bank will say, oh, we said we're going to give him 5% interest. 5% of 5,000 is $250. We are going to send him a check or put in his account $250. Desmond would be so happy. And he's going to say, wow, I got me my $250. I am going to go shopping. Desmond is going to buy some new clothes and new shoes and wristwatch and things like that. He's going to spend his $250,000. He is happy. Remember, he still has his 5,000, right? Because his principal. At the end of the 3 years, they will give him back this, but they will be paying him interest every year. Then at the end of year 2, the bank still has the 5,000. The bank is going to say, now it's time for us to pay him another 5%. They're going to calculate 5% of the 5,000. They're going to pay him $250, and Desmond is going to be happy. He's going to go shopping again. This time, maybe he's going to get a new phone. Then the bank still has his 5,000. At the end of the 3rd year, they're going to calculate his interest. They're going to pay him another $250. This time, Desmond, what are you going to buy with it? Okay. Desmond doesn't want to. What are you going to buy with your $250?
I'm going to buy some new clothes, some new shoes, and a pair of video games.
Okay, Desmond is going to buy some new video games and new clothes and new shoes, right? Now, let's look at how much he made at the end of the 3rd year. At the end of the 3rd year, bank will give him back his 5,000, and all the interest he made, $250 for 3 years, is 750. So Desmond made 5,750. But remember, he spent the 750 already. The only thing he has with him cash is 5,000. But in total, he made extra 750, right? Now, let's look at Hope. Hope has the same 5,000, and she went to the same bank. The bank said, you know what? We are still going to give you 5% interest. And look at what Hope did. At the end of the first year, Hope gets paid $250. Unlike Desmond, Hope is going to say, you know what? I am not going to cash out this. I want my interest to compound. Hope is going to tell the bank, keep this $250. All right, keep this $250, add it to my principal. So the bank is going to pick the $250, add it to his 5,000, to her 5,000, and Hope now has 5,250. Then at the end of year 2, it's time for bank to calculate the interest, and the bank is going to check, oh, we now have 5,250 that belongs to Hope. So we're going to pay her 5% on that 5,250, and Hope gets 265. While Desmond was getting 250 at the end of second year, Hope is getting 262. And Hope is going to be happy. But she's not going to take this money. She's going to tell the bank again, put this money back in my account. The bank is going to put it back. And now Hope has 5,512 and 50 cents. And at the end of the third year, bank will pay her 5% of 5,512, and Hope will get $275.63. Remember, Desmond got only $250 at the end of the third year, but Hope got $275. So in total, Hope is walking away with $5,788, and Desmond only walked away with $5,750. Hope has all of this in cash. Desmond has only 5,000 because he spent all of this. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this and tell me what you noticed. Which one is better?
Compound
interest.
Compound interest. Yes, compound interest.
Compound interest.
Great. Compound interest is better because you're leaving your money to compound, you're making more money. That doesn't mean you can't, by the time you get the 5,788, you cannot go shopping. You can still take some of it and shop, but the bottom line is that you made extra $38 more than this month because you left your money to compound. Now, imagine what will happen if you invested more money. If you invested more money or even left it to compound for longer years, you would earn even more money. So that's the secret of compounding. Whether you are investing, whether you are saving, allow your money to compound. But eventually, if you have a need that requires you to cash it out, that's fine. But as long as you don't have that emergency, allow your money to compound so that you can get the benefits of compound interest. Any questions? Any questions? Now, this is one thing I want you to pay attention to. It's called the rule of 72, okay? Rule of 72 is the formula that helps you to calculate how long it will take for your savings to double in value. Now, Desmond and Hope has 5,000. How long will it take them to make that money grow from $5,000 to $10,000? This is the formula that we use to calculate how long it will take. It is 72 divided by interest rate equals the number of years. Now, we know they have 5,000, and we know that interest rate is 5%. Who can tell me the number of years it will take for their 5,000 to become $10,000? Who can tell me how long it will take? You just do a quick calculation. 72 divided by the interest equals the number of years.
14.4 years.
14.4.
Great. It's gonna take them 14.4 years for them to double their 5,000. So that now I want you to do another calculation for me. Because we know it's gonna take them 14 years, what is the key thing here? We know 72 is constant. Interest rate can be anything. And once we change the interest rate, the number of years will change. Now, let's assume the interest rate is not 5% and it is 10%. How long will it take them to double their 5,000?
7.2 years. 7.2 years.
7.2 years.
Great. Now, do you see the difference it makes? What it tells you is, if you want the number of years to reduce, to be smaller, because some people might say, why do I have to wait for a whole 14 years? If I can double my money in 5 years, in 7 years, right? What you can do is to shop around and look for the institution or financial institution that will give you higher interest rate. That this bank is paying 5% doesn't mean I have to go there. There might be another bank paying 6%. There might be another bank paying 7%. So you got to shop around, people. I always tell you, whenever I'm having my classes, even if it's adults, I tell them you got to shop around. If they give you a rate, that's pretty good, but you can shop around and see if another company or another bank has something better. So for you to reduce the number of years it takes you to double your 5,000, increase your interest rate. We see how the difference it makes when somebody increases their interest rate from 5% to 10%, they basically cut down the number of years from 14 years to 7 years. So pay attention to interest rate. If you want to become rich, if you want to become wealthy, interest rate is the number you must watch every time. Whether you are investing, whether you have a credit card, whether you're saving, you got to always watch interest rate, okay? That is a habit I want you to form, because interest rate is one thing you need to be successful financially. All right. Now, this is your savings options. Somebody might ask, how do I save? What are different ways I can save? And I just put this to show you the different ways you can use to save, okay? You can just go and open a regular savings account. Current account is good, but it doesn't pay you interest. There are some in USA, there are some interest paying checking accounts, but it's not common. So what pays you interest is savings account. It's an account that allows you unlimited deposit, but it limits the number of free withdrawals you can make. Okay, that's mostly the difference between that and current account. You don't really withdraw so much on it in a month. You can typically earn interest on the money you have on deposit, and you will receive a statement at least every quarter or every month listing all your transactions. Now, the other thing is certificate of deposit. In Nigeria, I think they call it fixed deposits, but it's basically the same thing. You're depositing your money for a fixed period of time, and the bank will give you some certificate to show that they're holding your money for so period of time. This pays higher interest rate than regular savings account, because this, if you say you are fixing for 6 months or for 1 year or for 2 years, you are not going to touch your money at that time. But if it was a savings account, you can come at any time to withdraw that. So because of this limitation that you're giving your money for a specific period of time, they pay you higher interest. Okay, that's the difference. Then money market is just like savings account, but it pays higher interest rate. But the thing is, it requires a minimum balance. Savings accounts most times don't really require, for the most part, don't really require minimum balance, but money markets will require a higher minimum balance. And then you can make deposits, but you also have limited withdrawals. So money market is just a better savings account, call it that way, but with limitation on the number of withdrawals you make. So when you're ready to save money, when you're ready to open accounts, which I believe you will do after this class, if you do not have savings account, make it a priority. Talk to your parents. You need a savings account so that you can start saving. Now, this is one thing I want you to pay attention to. Protection. Because imagine you have all this money in the bank and maybe something happens. The bank catches fire, right? Some people break into the bank and take out the money. You want to make sure that your deposit is protected. Okay, so in Nigeria, the Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, protects your deposit up to 500,000 naira. In the US, we call it FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And then there's another kind of bank, we call it credit union. I'm not sure if we have credit unions in Nigeria. I believe we should have. So in US, the National Credit Union Administration, NCUA, protects money saved in member financial institutions. So this NCUA protects the ones for credit union. FDIC protects the regular banking deposits. And in Nigeria, NDIC protects your deposits. In US, they protect your deposit for up to $250,000. So you want to make sure that your money you're putting in your bank is protected. Okay, so keep that in mind. And there's this activity we are going to do at home. It's our last activity for the day, but you're going to do it at home because it requires research. It's on page 6. Let me show you what you will do so that when you go home, you can do that. So we just covered the different savings options and protection, so you can read it up when you go home. Now, because you're going to open a savings account, I want you to talk to your parents, or if you're grown enough to do that on your own, make research, do research, right? Select 2 banks and write their names here. You're going to find out about them. What is the minimum deposit to open a savings account? Write it for bank 1 and write it for bank 2. Then find the interest rate. How much are they paying you in interest? You're going to write them down because you're going to choose the one that pays higher interest, right? So you need to write them down so you can compare, and also compare the minimum deposit. And then you're going to ask them in the bank, is my deposit protected? If it's not protected, don't put your money in. So in this case, you're going to insert NDIC. Sorry, this is US, but NDIC for Nigeria, right? Ask them if it's protected. If it's not protected, don't. If it's protected, you're good to go. Then ask for fees. What if you don't meet your minimum requirements? Are there any fees that you have to pay? What are withdrawal? If you withdraw your money before, if they say you have to have only 5 withdrawals a month, if you withdraw up to 6, what are the penalties and what are the fees? So you need to find all of these out so that you can choose the bank you're going to open your account with. Okay? Do we have any questions on that? So do that activity and make sure you open your savings account. So this is our wrap up. I'm going to take maybe 1 or 2%. I'll wrap up. Just reflect and share how personal decisions may influence your spending and savings, and then or what actions we can take to maximize our savings. You can pick any of these questions and share, okay? Go ahead.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead. Unmute yourself and speak.
Okay. Relating to the interest rate of high interest rate in the bank, aren't we not supposed to look at the security of the money?
When you say security, what do you mean?
Like,
okay, let me help you a little bit. So as long as you check to make sure that the bank is protected, okay, that's why you must find out if NDIC is protecting deposits. Some banks that don't meet that requirement won't have, their capital requirements won't have that FDIC. It's called insurance, right? So you want to make sure that that bank is protected. As long as the bank is protected, you are good. Because if anything happens to your money, they'll pay you back. Okay, so even though this bank has higher interest, you want to make sure that it's protected. If it has higher interest and is protected, you are good to go. But if it has higher interest and is not protected, do not put your money in there. Okay? All right, who else wants to reflect?
Me, Ma.
All right, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'd like to for the first one that says reflect and share how personal decisions may influence your spending and savings. So what I want to say is the things we go through as well in life can, like it says, influence our spendings and savings. Like for example, if someone has been working a lot, they've not like been taking leave from work and stuff, like at a point they might say, oh, they want to take a vacation, and that might make them like spend their money and stuff, but they know it's well deserved and stuff like that. But then it's at the same time, when you also deserve, you should also like consider things for your future, different possibilities, like even in the country you live in, whether it has like natural disasters like floods, tornadoes in which your house could possibly get destroyed. You need to also think of the money that you need to save so that in case any of those things happen, you have money to keep yourself up, at least get a place to stay and stuff like that.
Great, very nice wrap up. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Great wrap up. Who else wants to go? You can also put your comments in the chat because Ms. Bimba will be giving you credit for that, okay?
For me, I would say now I would always want to save before spending. When I know I've saved enough, I'll first decide on a particular amount of percentage of my income, my allowance to save every month. And then after doing that, I can now spend first on my expenses. Then what I have left, I can use it to meet my short-term goals or now take myself out for a trip.
Great, great. Okay, Zeno, go ahead. I haven't heard from you.
I think for me, I would personally put more money to save so I can I can put more money for me to save instead of me spending things that I want but I don't usually need. And yeah.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to take one more person and then we can wrap up. Let me see. Who else wants to go for it? The last person.
Yeah, for me, I think I personally learn how to pay myself for any money I earn. So I'll be doing that now, and I'll actually cut down on frivolous expenses. I've not been putting much attention.
Great points, great point, great points. Wow, we've come to the end of the our session for today. And I want to thank you all for joining and for participating. The engagement is great. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to let Ms. Bimbo take over from here because I have to run. And just like she said, make sure that you register for the FEAR program. And the kind of engagement you have today, you'll be earning to learn, and your points will be paid out to you in dollars, right? It will be calculated for you in dollars. And if you give us Naira accounts, we'll pay it out to you, okay? So thank you so much, Ms. Bimbo. Ms. Bimbo, thank you for having me join the session. I truly, truly enjoyed it. And thank you for bringing this opportunity for our young ones to learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charity. Can you please all unmute and let's give her a round of applause? Please unmute and clap. Please do that. Unmute and clap. Dr. Charity, before you run away, please take our hand clap, please. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Charity.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for participating. I enjoyed it as much as you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. I'll catch up with you later. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. Bye.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, young people.
Thank you so much. Bye.
And some parents that snuck in, or is that the right word, to join us? Some parents, I can see some parents in the background. I think you should also unmute and give yourself a round of applause. Everybody around the call, let's just give ourselves, because it's been 3 wonderful days of patience, of learning. Yeah. Well done to everybody. Edison, I don't know if you're still around the call. If you can help me take a snapshot of everybody that is still on the call now, it's very important for me because there's bonus point for people wrapping up. Okay, I'll just do it myself. I'm not so sure everything's still on the call. Now, while I'm doing this, can you please start putting in the chat box what you have learned in the past 3 days and what is going to change for you? Very important. I want to know what will change for you. I want to know what you have learned. I want to know what you're committing to do. I want you all to also watch your email boxes. In next I would say in the next few days, not just say, but maximum of 1 week, we will be able to do our analysis and come up with the winners. We said 3 of you at the end of these 3 days. We're going to select 3 people, the winners. We're going to put the statistics out there, so there's no going to be, it's going to be very transparent. 3 people are going to win a mutual fund trust account. We're going to open mutual trust fund accounts for 3 people, and that will be the beginning of your savings. You're going to win. It's going to be your prize for being amongst the best, for the best participants for this program. Your points will also entitle you to, let me share my screen, will also entitle you to participate in the year-end raffle that we always do. Can you see my screen? I think I'm not sharing the right thing now. I want to share details. Yeah. So I think I said earlier on that you needed minimum of 500 points to be able to participate for the selection of the winners for this 3 days competition. But for the year end, if you have, you can get 600 points from what you have done in the 3 days. But then if you follow online, we usually do weekly quizzes. And if you send us responses, your responses will attract points. And then some of you have already followed online. We're going to allocate points also to those that have followed the Finance Coach handle online. As many of you that can do it, I want you to sign up. If you're not even able to take the entire 10 weeks of Dr. Charity's program, you can decide which of the topics you want to join in. But if you can spare 1 hour every Sunday, it's a beautiful one. Now, are there people who are ready to share with us what they have learned in these 3 days? You can unmute and then speak.
From the first day, good evening, everyone. From the first day, I learned to do all I
Sorry,
can
please
to
just
gain
give me
enough.
your name. Sorry, because I have so many people so that I can.
My name is Oluwatamilore Aladeshin.
Okay, thank you. So whoever is going to speak again, please just make sure you call your name so that we can give you your points without losing you in my rate. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
From the first day, my major takeaway was learning to do all I can to gain financial knowledge. And when it comes to investing, I should diversify and not put all my eggs in one basket. And I should try to earn more from have multiple sources of income. From yesterday's session, my major takeaway was always having a to-do list and prioritizing my tasks. I didn't know there were different types of tasks, like urgent tasks, important ones, and I didn't know that, but I learned that yesterday. And from today, I've learned to save before spending, and also to always have a rainy day fund for emergencies, because I never know what will come up. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Oluwatamilore Adeshule. That's excellent. I can see, okay, some hands are up. Maybe it's easier for us to go with the hands. Leila Olanrewaju, quickly. And you can also put these points in the chat box, okay? If I don't get to call your name, I just want to hear your voices. It's fun listening to you.
I learned that saving is a very important aspect of life, and that it helps people a lot in their daily needs and wants. And I am also committed to read more. And
sorry, Leila, I'm not cutting you short. You will still continue, but I just want to announce before people drop off, because I see we're just 39 left. Please try and answer the 4 questions that the poll will launch on your screen. Just answer while people are commenting. Thank you, Leila. Please continue.
And I am more committed to read more and to write. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Leila. I see that you were very outspoken in the 3 days. You contributed so well. You get your point. Please take the poll. Daniela, your hands up. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So within these 3 days, I have learned how to prioritize, like make lists for each day and follow them without procrastinating and not just like wake up and do whatever I feel like. I've also learned that I should set goals for myself and not limits, that by that I can continuously grow. I have also learned like the major things you need for school, like not just some materials, but also the skills like synergy to work in groups, confidence, because I have to love myself. Because if you can't love yourself, you can't love other people. I have to be free. And from today, I've also learned that the how to save, the importance of saving, um budgets, compound savings, and just basically things for financial aid and things for my future.
Thank you so much, Daniela. Thank you. Elizabeth.
Good day, everyone. My name is Elizabeth. I was unable to attend the first class because I got the mail late. But from yesterday, I was able to get that we should be intentional and we should keep a to-do list, especially if we want to like succeed in academics, and that we should also like prioritize our tasks in order of importance, and we should track our time and we should have good time management. And from today, I have learned why my parents are always saying, oh, save your money and don't spend it all in one place, because so that you won't run into like debt or financial problems later. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us what you learned, Elizabeth. Tosoye Abioye.
Good evening, ma. On the first day, I learned that what is financial freedom, that it helps us to like help us to spend our money in the right way on our needs and wants. And on the second day, we also did like a chart that what we're supposed, how we see ourselves, like how can we change our behavior through our money, our time and money, as our free times and our lectures. And today I also learned that a little expenses can make our money to go. What I mean by that is that let's say that I just want to buy the drink, it's just 100 naira. By the time you just get yourself tempted, that's how you start to be buying and buying, and that is what we call impulse buying. And we also need to do like a checklist of what we need to buy, and that's all I've learned.
Excellent. You've learned a lot. Excellent. You've learned a lot. We also said on day one, remember that every dollar counts. So yeah, it's very, very important. Yeah. Jed MMO.
There's a lot, but I just want to say those three.
Oh yes, excellent. I'm just agreeing with you that you learned a lot. I'm agreeing with you. What you've said is a lot. You've actually said a lot. So for 3 days, if you learned all that you've said, then you've done well for yourself. Well done. Very good. Jed, please.
Good day, everybody. What I've learned so far from the 3-day workshop, I've learned what financial freedom is, how to be financially free, tips to build a good financial foundation, and how a young person can stay financially literate. I've also learned the ESI concept, which means earn more, save better, and invest more. That has really helped me a lot, and I think that would help me too for future reference. I've also learned how to prevent and avoid money mistakes. It can be promoted by peer pressure, borrowing wrongly, and impulsive purchases. On day 2, I learned how to manage my time, be intentional, keep a to-do list, prioritize, rank your tasks, be focused, and work on one task at a time. So I think that's what I've learned so far, and that has really helped me a lot.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Jed. Beautiful. Well done. Well done to everybody that's commented so far and the people commenting in the chat box. Well done to all of you. Adewale Oluyede.
Yeah. Hello, ma. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yeah.
So far, I have actually learned on how to save money and at the same time how to invest money that we save. And at the same time, I have learned how to actually create a budget and work with the budget too. So, and at the same time, I have actually learned on how to prioritize things in the basis of how we need to spend, the things we need to spend on first, the major things we need to work on, etc. I have learned so far. I have learned a lot, and I want to thank the finance coach for this opportunity. It's really amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adewale. Thank you so much. You all have been very encouraging. Your participation, the way you've been absorbing everything that has been taught you, your comportment. I mean, I said to my husband yesterday that I'm still very hopeful of the future of Nigeria, you know, having people like you contribute. You know, we're so far away from your age, and then we see a lot of stressful things, and we're wondering what direction. But with the likes of all of you that signed up and your participation, your comportment, your courtesies, there's still hope, and beautiful things will still happen in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Adewale. Philip Akoni, I like your DP actually. You say you're king of something. I don't know what king that is. You want to tell us, Philip? Can you unmute yourself?
My name is Philip. I missed the first class because I was not able to get the invitation. On day 2, I learned that we should always have a to-do list. Since that if we want to be organized, we need a to-do list. And we cannot do everything on the to-do list at the same time. So we will group them like important tasks, quick tasks, and others. I also learned that we should also keep time of when to do these tasks. We also had a chat on how we can change our behavior and how we will end up. Today, I learned the importance of saving, and I also learned how to invest money. Like example, what we just had in the class. One of the savings, he kept on getting 250 continually. The second saving, when they gave her money, she said they should add them into the account. Then they gave her a higher amount. Then she asked them to add it. Then she gave her another account. Then she kept on saying that she should add it. So now I have learned how to make goals for each day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for your participation. I think I also commended you yesterday for, I think you're the one that was sitting in a very structured office space. And I said that would enhance your concentration and how you, gain in the workshop. Sharon Ayodeji. Sharon, do you want to unmute yourself?
I just want to say throughout these 3 days, I've learned how to save money, manage my time when there are like some things that are really tempting to buy, these latest and all that you still have to like work through, that you should save money and invest. So money out there, to invest and also bring more profit than you already earned. Then I learned about finance literacy and everything, and that time is money, that you should schedule what you do. Use it to do something to enhance your chances in saving.
Are you done, Sharon? Thank you so much. Okay, you're going back to me. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that contributed. Some of you will get ready. You're going to give the vote of thanks. I want somebody on behalf of all the students to say thank you to speakers. I still have Professor Chinedu on the call. I think I saw her some minutes ago. Let me see if she's still here. Oh, she just dropped off. think she's dropped off. She was here some minutes ago. Anyway, I'm going to extend your gratitude to the prof, our speaker for yesterday. I think it was Elizabeth and Philip that said the missed day one. So we're going to post the video. I think it has been posted. The video for day one has been posted to the Finance Coach BK YouTube. So you can always go there, subscribe, because there'll be other videos later, so that you can know when we post other videos and when we have new activities. Subscribe, like our page, and follow. So for those that have missed the first day, or if you missed any part of these 3 days, we're going to edit and post for day 2 and day 3 as well. Okay, I have Prof back on the line. Can you please all unmute and just give us our speaker of yesterday? She had to rush us for a meeting. Thank you, Prof. Unmute.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, ma. Thank you for speaking to us yesterday. So many of the contributors have talked about time management and prioritizing and all of that. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you. Oluwagbemi Famobiwo, are you ready now to give a vote of thanks? While you're getting yourself ready, I want to thank all of you, everybody that participated, everybody's special. The 36 people that are still on the call, you are all so special. Abiodu Professor Desmond, Hope Etim, Matthew, Tamilore Aladesui, Oreoluwa Bello, Osazi Osakwe, Kieran Wobi, Agbohoroma, Fogo, Matthias, Keisha, Bemi, Edikan James. I want to thank Edikan James especially because he's on the university and he went from, I think he came straight from a lecture to join us, and that shows determination. Shemilore Matthew, Mrs. Famobiwo, who is one of the organizers of this workshop. She's one of the motivations to make sure this happens. Those people that work with me in the office, Celestina, Edison, Grace, Isaac, Ohis, thank you. EA, you have abbreviated your name. How do we give you your points now, Mr. or Miss EA? Uyi, Imole Famobiwo, and Dairo. Am I on the same page now? I think I'm on the same page. Okay, sorry if I didn't call your name, but you're all very special people today. Philip already spoke. Yeah, you already thanked Philip. Okay, I don't know if Adrian is still on the call, but thank you so much, Adrian. I know that it took a special effort for you to join in on those 3 days, and all the best. Oluwagbemi Famobiwo, I want to hear your voice.
Good afternoon, Mama. I would like to say thank you to Dr. Charity for her class today on tracking our expenses and having a rainy day fund. I also like to thank her for taking out time of her day to teach all of us, especially on budgeting and other things concerning financial empowerment. And I'd also like to thank Prof. Chinedu for her class yesterday with the discovery wheel and like the question of our morals and all. And I also like to thank Ms. Bimbo for organizing this whole event for all of us. We didn't have to pay for it. This class was free. Then I also like to thank all of us who were able to attend for taking out time of our day to attend this class without any problem or troubles. Yeah.
Thank you, Gbemi. Thank you so much. I'm excited that we all have gained. I will encourage you to follow Finance Coach online. Follow Dr. Charity's page. Her page is Wealthy Jane. I'm going to send you the details of the program. I'm so grateful to everyone that's encouraged us to do this workshop, and I'm so convinced that your money habits will change. I'm convinced that everything that you heard will be an advantage for you in future. I'm grateful to my partners, to Professor Chinedu and Dr. Charity. I'm very grateful to both of them for making this happen and so excellently. So stay back, there's the after party. You can keep chatting, you can keep speaking with me. I'm gonna start playing some music and share some information about the points, the finance coach BK points. Thank you everyone. Stay blessed and stay safe. Keep masking and keep your distance. Safe distance from people when they speak to you. Don't let anybody speak into your nose. There's nothing wrong if they speak into your ears. Okay. Hope Etim, your video was on throughout. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you all the best. If you still want to chat with me, the chat box is open, but I'm going to start sharing some videos now. Take care, everyone. Sosoye, take good care of yourself. Matthias, take good care. Keisha, Kieran, Ariolua Bello, Andairo, Daniela, Bayagbona, Elizabeth Bayagbona. I'm sure your siblings, or it's just a coincidence. Thank you both for joining. For those that missed day one, you will get day one on the YouTube channel. The one video has been posted already to the YouTube channel. God bless you all.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a freaking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my. Wise man said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. But you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take it. Vibe killer, bloody somebody time. Protect my energy from your past.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a freaking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my. Wise man said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a freaking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill my vibe. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my. As I said, follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. But you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was killer. Me, I no go take shit. Vibe killer. Bloody somebody time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said. Follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said. Follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said. Follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody time. Protect my energy from your bad.
London.
I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamite. I blow your candle lights. You know I'm just that type. No, them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill my vibes. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill. Them no fit kill my wise man said. Follow the stars. There you shall find a piece of advice. If you hit your enemies, enemies shine. If you're not a friend of me, enter the light. Cause you can never kill my vibe. Got here with no sacrifices. Everything was taken, still had to make it. Vibe killer, me I no go take shit. Vibe killer, bloody somebody time. Protect my energy from your bad.
Excuse me, ma, you're muted.
Thank you, darling. Sorry, I was talking to myself. Okay, so I was just saying thank you to everybody again. Tosoye, Hope, Kieran, Elizabeth, Oluwatamilore Aladesuyi, Leila, Somebody is called She. Daniela Bagbona, Uyi, Osaze, Osakwe. Yeah, do we still have more people? So I'm going to sign off now. Thank you all so much. I want you to look back to this workshop sometime 10 years down the road and say to yourself, I learned so much and I didn't do this because I learned these things in the year 2021. Think of something. For those of you that are planning to go into university or higher school very soon, take a percentage of your pocket money and decide not to touch it. Just put it in a savings account. If you're getting 1,000 naira, just decide maybe 50 naira, you're not going to do anything with it for a long time. And you will see the power of compound interest. I wish you people all the best. And I thank you so much for taking our time to listen to us. Have a blessed time and stay safe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Love you all so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take good care.